This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, and the stories that leads to today's show are as follows. We've had some incredible national reaction to the last show. Talk about that. The exploding iPhone 7. We're going to talk about more Russian hacking. We're going to talk about the U.S. Air Force space plane that has landed after 700 days in a very classified mission. And we're going to talk about a Supreme Court and if they're going to allow to be presented a case where police are going to, police will need warrants for cell site data. Of course, plus all the news of the day. I want to welcome you to episode 1198 of the Geek News Central podcast. For Monday, May 8th, this show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Of course, you can always support the show by going to geeknewscentral.com/insider or paypal.me/geeknews. You can pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. Again, I want to give a warm welcome to all the new listeners to the show. For those of you that were here for the last show, we had a little bit of a departure from our normal commentary, and I won't spend as much time, obviously, on that topic again tonight, but I will be talking a little bit about this. But if you are brand new to the podcast and you like tech stuff, we want you to get over to geeknewscentral.com and get subscribed to the show. You can do it via iTunes on Android, via email, Google Play, on Stitcher, via TuneIn, or standard RSS feed. Make sure you check out all the great content that the writers for the site are putting up on an almost daily basis. We want you to get subscribed to the newsletter as well. You can find that a little bit further down on the page. So get subscribed so that way you'll get the email with everything that I'm going to be talking about during the show tonight delivered directly to your inbox immediately following the show. Of course, we want you to drop me an email if you have comments on today's podcast at geeknews@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at geeknews. You can join our Slack chat channel by sending me an email. Let me know you want to join the Slack channel. You can follow me on Google Plus and Facebook just by searching for my name. You can watch this show on the Roku via the Tech Podcast channel on the Apple TV. You can listen on the Amazon Echo by telling Alexa to play the latest edition of this show's name. You can listen on Stitcher, watch review on Blueberry.com, or tell your Google Home device to play the podcast Geek News Central. We don't want to forget our partner shows, No Better Than Average with Jacob and Jeff, The Gadget Professor, Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site. Of course, is being written by the GNC team, and the Podcast Legends show at podcastlegends.com. This show is sponsored, of course, in part by our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. And we want you to take time to get over to GoDaddy and check out all the deals that they have available. All of my May promo codes are up and available online. You just got to go to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And whether it be a 99cent.com, $1 a month economy hosting with a free domain, $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain, $12. You get a hosting account and a free domain. You can't beat that at all. Of course, save 30% on new product purchases. You get a 1-month free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder as well. Your choice of personal business or business plus plans. Check all that out again at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And we want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central, helping us keep the lights on, bills paid, and everything that goes with it. So, anyway, just to get you guys kind of caught up here on what's been going on. Saturday, there was no new media show. Rob Greenlee, my co-host to that, was in Calgary and in Canada for a podcast summit. He'll be back in the studio on Saturday, so we'll be doing our long-awaited update for the National Station Broadcaster Show. We'll be talking about what's going on in the podcasting space. It's probably going to be a monster podcast that day because we haven't done one in like 3 weeks, so it's kind of crazy. We've been out of the socket that long. So he'll be back. But Saturday, basically soccer day, and then I had a lot of stuff I had to take care of here, business wise, getting proposals ready. Of course, did the gym, and I'm down to 197. So at least that's the lowest scale's been. Kind of ups and downs a little bit. So that's awesome. But um, Sunday after I got back from the gym, I told Chris, "Come on, we got to mow the yard. We got to, before your mother gets home, we got to get this place cleaned up." And we here in Hawaii, we got the green bins that you have to use, and got those all pulled out. And I mowed the backyard while he was kind of moving some stuff around, and then I grabbed the trimmers to go because our palm trees every once in a while have to be cut back a little bit. And one of them was extending a little bit over into the neighbor's property a little bit, and I like to keep it so it doesn't drip over there or droop over there too far. And so on the back side, matter of fact, right behind the studio, there is a wall, and it's got a wrought iron fence mounted to the top of it. But there's enough room where you climb over the top of the wrought iron fence and you crawl along the back side of the wall. There's really no issue. Plenty of place there to step to be able to get high enough up to the palm trees to cut. And for whatever reason, I haven't even made a single cut. And I made a step, and my foot went, there's nothing there. And it was like Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, and timber over I went. Now, the yard behind me is about 6 or 7 feet below where the ledge of this wall is. But he has a retaining wall that's lower than mine, about 4 foot down. So my first crash was kind of into my wall. The second crash was into his wall, and then I end up laid out on his yard. And I still had the cutters in my hand. I don't know why I didn't abandon those. It was those long pruning type cutters. And immediately I'm like, oh, my ribs, and oh, my hand. So I don't know if you guys can see this. It may not look too bad on the camera, but it was just like where I was probably trying to grab to keep from, getting dumped. But it's the wrist and hand and thumb, and very minor. That'll be gone in a couple of days. It looks like I got a cat fight. And then, but my ribs, oh boy, they are sore. It looks like I took about 5 rounds in the gym with someone just punching me in the same spot. Now, I don't think I cracked any ribs. At this point, I'm just probably sore. But I was feeling my Wheaties this morning when I rolled out of bed at 4:30 in the morning. It's gotten better throughout the day, but yesterday was the afternoon was, and I helped him finish doing the yard. Yesterday was scotch and an ibuprofen. Today it's just been an ibuprofen day. So anyway, it'd have been epic if someone had a video of it. It would have been like classic bloopers round for YouTube. So I just want to talk just a little bit about the last show. The response from the last show has been unlike anything we've seen in quite a while, and largely based upon my story about what was going on in the community I grew up in. But, I want to just talk just a little bit, and there's a lot of high schoolers from Quincy that are listening to this show because I know you've been reaching out to me. And, I've been online in one form or another since about 1990, 1991, and it was started with being on a bulletin board system. And what I learned very early was that I had a way to be able to express myself and to be able to share my opinions, thoughts, and ideas in a manner that I so chose. And it really, in those early days, we had forums and where people were talking about specific topics. They even had specific forums for flame wars. And so, I've really had, since about 1990, a lot of experience dealing with group talk and group discussions. Nowhere near an expert, don't get me wrong, but you can always tell the tide and flow of a group discussion. And I think, and I'll get back to that in a second, but I want all of you that are brand new to thinking about creating media. The power today of being able to do a podcast, being able to put something up on YouTube, putting something on Facebook, not so much on Snapchat because the content expires, but putting stuff up on Instagram where you're sharing with your friends, people that you know, and maybe at some point the world, that content cannot be ignored. Your parents and maybe your grandparents, or actually, maybe your parents are online, but maybe your grandparents are online. They don't understand the power of this medium. Those of you that are in high school do. You understand the power of being able to socially share stuff. But you have the ability now to have your own voice. That doesn't mean that having a voice doesn't come without responsibility. You have to have a voice with responsibility. You have to be careful on what you say. You have to make sure that you don't libel someone in your commentary. It's okay to have opinions and to give thoughts. But there's a little bit of social responsibility that goes along with creating content online. And I try to, myself personally, I try to thread that line the best I can, while the story that we talked about on the last show, where I was focused on the administration's failure in protecting a child, we cannot forget that there is a victim, and oftentimes a family of a victim. Okay, the victim, the family, the victim, the accused family as well almost becomes victims as well. So our heart and passion and our compassion have to not forget about them. But we have the ability with social media to reach an audience that maybe goes outside our community, and at the same time, sometimes just wake our community up and make them realize it's time for action. So since the last show, I've had over 150 private Facebook messages from folks that, number one, I know. Number two, I don't know, but I'm familiar with who they are, and some complete strangers. And those Facebook messages will remain private, and I won't share the contents of those conversations. But let me just say this. If you have information about the topic that we talked about on the last show that you feel is pertinent to the investigation that may or may not be continuing, I encourage you to call the Branch County Sheriff's Department and make an appointment to go down and have a talk and share the information that you may have. Even though you may think it's very inconsequential, it may be the piece that they're looking for. So feel free to make sure you do that. Well, at the same time, don't be afraid to, publicly speak out about what's going on. I have, on the other hand, had some hate-filled rage emails and one physical threat, which I actually think that's pretty good compared to everything that's going on here. So 150 positive private conversations and about 5 rage-induced emails. And then lots of great conversation and debate going on in a private Facebook group called I Grew Up in Quincy. Now, my plan, plans are like anything else. They go out the window 5 seconds after you make them. But my plan was to say my piece, share that with the community, let the community then speak to the board and everything else that's going on right now, to let their thoughts be known as well, and just share only what I knew. And I don't know anything more today than I knew on Monday, or excuse me, of Thursday of last week. So, there's lots of rumors going around, and we have to be careful with rumors. It's better to, if you have direct knowledge of something, that is where it's important that that information gets shared. But the same, in rumors, we should be very, very careful in spreading rumors. So I'm not going to spread any rumors, and that's never been my plan. I can only speak to what I actually know, and it's factual. But the way it's happening in communities today, especially like small communities in which I grew up in, there's very little true local investigative news. The staffs of small town newspapers, they look for the sports, the community event. They've only can cover so much stuff, and they can't do and spend a lot of time digging deep into stuff. They just can't do that. So this is where today we're empowered by all of us that listen to this show, are empowered by the ability to have this ability to have a platform on which to say our piece, and being respectful and not disparaging and not libeling people, but voicing our opinions to the best ability. Now, my plan was kind of to like say my piece and move on, but I keep getting sucked back in, and it's happening for a reason, and that's okay. So not complaining whatsoever, but for the audience that's been here for years with me, this has been an interesting week. It's a little bit different than anything I've ever experienced before in doing this show. So we're breaking new ground here. This afternoon, I was actually pretty busy, and I ignored my phone about 3 times, and let it go to voicemail. And the third time it rang, it was within like 5 minutes of it ringing before, and I looked at it, and I looked at the city, and I looked at the state that the call was coming from, and I said, and I answered it, and turns out it was a exec producer team from a national news network, and they had listened to my 20-minute or so rant from the last show, having been got there through a Facebook link where someone had actually recorded a school board meeting, a variety of ways, and basically they wanted to know who, what, why, how come, and it wasn't, and it was, and it wasn't what I was expecting. And I don't know if the national news network will run this. They were collecting information, but their interest in the story was, this has been 20 years in the making. And the fact that there is a victim that has already come forward from 20 years ago, and then a current victim from now, and a lot of weird shit that's happened in between, they think there's something there. And I have a tendency to agree. So I don't want to cause the community I grew up with any harm, but it's just about to get real. And in my opinion, the failure again of the current administration could have prevented this final victim. Are there any in between? No one knows. I have my predictions, and I think we'll see what happens at some point if there's a civil suit. But spent about 30 minutes on the phone with that national news organization. They have asked me not to say at this point uh, which network. It is a cable network, and there are several of those. So I guess everyone almost can be considered cable network now. But anyway, long story short, we will see where this goes. And I really had very, very few things to add to the conversation, uh, any more than what I've already said. So I know there are some folks from the community that are not happy with my ongoing dialogue about this. It can't be helped at this point, and I wouldn't change anything. And again, we're at a point where there is time for the board of directors, school board, to do what's right, and we'll see what they do. Do I really want a news truck parked outside the school? Not necessarily. But I think sometimes communities need to understand that internal politics that happen within schools and school districts and business considerations should be the last thing that is considered. The first thing that should be considered is the safety of the children in schools. And I'm going to leave it at that at this point. But those of you students, young adults, be responsible, socially responsible. Don't libel anyone. Be free to make your opinions known. All right? And don't do anything that goes against the law. We don't do that, right? But let your voices be heard as you want to, and be socially responsible. All right, I'm going to wrap this part up, and feel free to email me. Feel free to send me hate email. The threats aren't cool. I actually told my mom, I said, if I come home for my niece's graduation, I said, am I going to have to hire security and get a bulletproof vest? And we kind of, half laughed about it, but maybe. maybe indeed. So anyway, what do you think? Do you think I need to go with security? I've never had to do that before. And I know that 95, 96, 97% of the community is the same thought process as I am. It's just that those 3%ers, or maybe the more accurate word, the 1%ers. So anyway, thanks everyone for letting me just kind of not rant, but just kind of go into this again. But for those of you that've been here with me for all these years, this is new territory. It really is. And I don't want it to consume the show, but we've always said, and I've always said, Ohana, it's part of the family thing, right? We're all family here, and this is an important part of the show. We're headed to the 1200th episode of this podcast, and it just proves to me more and more, and based upon the comments that have come in, that this is what the soul of this show, even though it's a tech show, is still about the listeners in the Ohana that tune in. So anyway, let me move on and we'll get into the podcast. I've already burned way too much time. Mike, yeah, it's a wild shirt. Thanks for your comment. Okay, bada bing, bada boom. I've already covered all that. And I'm a little bit, the folks from GoDaddy have not sent me April's totals. I just realized that. I'm going to have to ping them and say, what's going on? To get the update on where we're at for April. All right, so let me get into the content here. It's an interesting news day. Um, it's there's like no big news, but a lot of interesting small stories. So we're going to be able to bust through this pretty quick. Hey, British man claimed that iPhone 7 exploded when he answered it. A darts player said his hand was speared with glass after his Apple device blew up, according to the report. He said the phone spontaneously combusted. You know, as many iPhones that are out there, and the way lithium batteries are, there's always going to be some of these that are they're gonna burn. So make sure you're watching your phone. If you haven't taken it out of the case recently, and you've got an iPhone 7, and let's say it's getting close to a year old, or if it's a 7 Plus or 7S, whatever it may be, pop it out of the case and flip it over and feel it, and take a look at the phone itself, and make sure that you're not seeing any bulging or any funky stuff going on. If you do, that's time to get an appointment immediately with the Apple Store, or get on the phone and get your phone replaced. The phone should not ever bulge at all. All right, and just keep an eye on it. And oftentimes, when it's in your case, you can't see what's going on, or if it feels like it's really, really hot after you've charged it, keep an eyeball on it. I have to laugh at this one. Ex-Intel chief James Clapper warns of more Russian hacking. Fueled by success in 2016 presidential race, Russians will be back to hack future U.S. elections. Duh? You don't think? I'm just like, okay. Should this come as a surprise? No. Did any of us need to have someone testifying to think that would happen again? You know, the U.S. media has been hacking elections for 50 years. So it's just, we just have another player in the hacking of elections. Let's be truthful about it. The media does a lot to ship and shape and mode and, derive public opinion. You just look at the news today. It's just full of, everything. Everything is so the election has already started again. U.S. Air Force space plane, the X-37B orbital test vehicle, OTV-4, an unmanned reusable space aircraft operated by the U.S. Air Force, landed at NASA Kennedy Space Center in Florida after 2 years in orbit. So U.S. Air Force officials confirmed the spacecraft's landing and said they were excited about the data gathered. According to a press release, the program is designed to experiment on and develop reusable space vehicles. What the OTV's been doing for the past 24 months, only those that are cleared and read in will know. But it will be apparently refurbished and relaunched. So we'll see what happens here with it. But a couple years on orbit. It's pretty impressive, really, if you think about it. 700 and some days on orbit and return with, I'm sure, a bountiful treasure of data. On Thursday, the Supreme Court will meet privately to discuss the controversial privacy question of whether the authorities, in other words, the police authorities, need a court warrant to force mobile phone companies to divulge their customers' cell site data. This data shows where you were, according to a cell tower, and where you made a call. This information can paint a canvas of one's whereabouts. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with this, if you have 3 cell towers up, right? And you are out and about with your cell phone moving around, it's very easy for those cell towers to triangulate your position to a pretty accurate position. If they don't have a warrant to unlock your phone and get the GPS location already, they can use this triangulated data to figure out where you have been, where you're going, and what you've been doing. And this will ultimately be used in whatever case it's being used against you. Now, whether this specific case, there's 5 cases on the High Court's conference list in which cell site data obtained without a probable cause warrant from a judge was instrumental for authorities to prosecute an armed robbery, drug running, illegal possession of weapons. The defendants are asking the court to revisit the so called third party doctrine, a legal theory that allows authorities to obtain private information on people if that information is considered a normal business record voluntarily given to and held by a third party. In this case, the data is deemed a business record of the mobile phone companies, which are required to disclose it as part of government investigations. So we'll see if the court decides to hear this case, and we'll go from there. And we'll be reporting on that probably when the court reports back. Richard Branson of Virgin Galactic has partnered with startup Boom Technology to build a supersonic aircraft. Boom Technology announced the plane would zip through the skies faster than the Concorde jet or any other commercial aircraft today. Aircraft that fly faster than the speed of sound were first developed in the mid-20th century. Da-da-da. But regulations and technical challenges halted innovation and expansion of this concept, said Boom Technology, which is headquartered in Denver. The aviation startup said it aims to change that by developing a modern supersonic passenger jet that travels at Mach 2.2. So that's about 1,450 miles per hour. Today, in a normal airliner, you're just under Mach 650 or so miles per hour is usually the top speed. Boom has also said and of course, I'm sure our aviation enthusiasts here will correct me on that. But at Mach 2.2, passengers could travel between New York City and London in 3 hours and 15 minutes. The supersonic jet could fly between San Francisco and Tokyo in 5.5 hours, or between Sydney and Los Angeles in 6 hours and 45 minutes. What you really do on that LA to Sydney run, you save up your money and you get a first class ticket. And then you enjoy the luxury of flying from LA to Sydney first class, and you hit the ground running in Sydney. Now, I know that's really expensive, but if you're going to fly from Los Angeles to Sydney, you don't want to be in coach. And if you do, make sure that you drink a lot and pass out, because your butt is going to be sore after that one. But anyway, so supersonic passenger jet coming by 2020. You just every once in a while you see a superstar that is doing something cool, and I'm probably going to pronounce her name wrong. Pop icon Nicki Minaj, Minaj, this year's Billboard Music Awards, took a turn late Saturday night when one Twitter follower asked her, could she help pay off his college expenses instead of flying him to Los Angeles? She said, show me straight A's that I can verify with your school, and I'll pay it. Who wants to join that contest? Dead serious. Should I set it up? So basically, that kicked off a charity spree that saw fans flocking to her Twitter account with funding requests to help cover everything from tuition to textbooks. Most requests were relatively modest in the context of college costs, ranging from a few $100s for one fan to several $1,000s for another. And all told, she replied to about a dozen fans offering to pitch in and help with their expenses in exchange for proof of good grades. So, bravo to Nicki Minaj. And I pronounced her name wrong. Millennials, help me out. Minaj? Minaj? I'm sorry, I destroyed it. But anyway, good job on her for, she makes good money. So she's helping some of her fans out. It's smart. I like to see this kind, and actually rewarding good grades. Awesome. Okay, so this coming Sunday, I believe, is Mother's Day. So there's some great deals available for Mother's Day. There's some headphones, Anker's Powerhouse battery, Sony's Bluetooth headphones. Oh, they've got some watches on sale for mom as well, some bracelets. So there are some deals out there now for mom. I don't think mom's going to like the $170 off the Anker's Powerhouse battery. maybe if you have a mom that's doing a lot of beach runs or picnics and wants that big battery to be able to run gear. And I don't know if moms are going to want the Bluetooth headphones from Sony, but maybe a Mother's Day watch like an Apple Watch or a bracelet or something like that. Flowers, candy's always good. So dinner in bed, all those things are good for mom. So, but if you are looking for some deals, fellas, maybe you can buy the bracelet and the headphones, right? That'll always go well when the Amazon box arrives, right? iMessage. I don't, iMessage I don't use that great, that much. But did you know there's iMessage games you can play with your friends? There's Words with Friends, there's Game Pigeon, there's Emoji Quest, there's Truth Lie, there's Quictionary, there's Mr. Putt, uh, uh, Boggle with Friends. So there's some cool games you can do via iMessage. So I don't have time to do that, but if you do, and you just want to have some fun with a friend, maybe you're on the bus or maybe you're traveling or whatever, it might be a cool way to chat, to go back and forth. All right, there's I'm always looking at quirky stuff, and it's kind of funny because I'm always looking for quirky stuff for the studio, and I have a hard time finding stuff sometimes, but I found something today. I just have to show you. For those of you that are watching, it's a banana phone. It's a Bluetooth headset, and this thing's awesome. Um, they're doing a Kickstarter, actually Indiegogo campaign, crowdfunding for this, and you can get in on it, and when they bring it to market, you'll have a banana phone for the shelf. Would you ever use this? Never. But would you have it on your shelf as a talk piece when someone comes in the office and eyeballs if they make, especially if they deliver it with a cool case, you can set it in so it stands up. And then someone comes in and asks you what's up with the banana, and you want to talk on it. So anyway, a banana phone, just quirky stuff like this, awesome. I don't know what the Indiegogo pricing is. I would assume it's not very much, probably $50. Actually, let me load it. Let me find out what the funding rate is for this. Did I load it? Let me try that again. Oh, I did. Duh. Let me bring this up on Indiegogo and look. They've already raised $19,000. They're 65% of the way. Oh, it's not that cheap. Oh, you can get $40. You can get one for $40. Estimated delivery September 2017. You want a 3-pack? You can get. Hey, Christmas shopping's over. Okay, you're looking to buy some gag gifts for a party? You can get 6 for $240. All right, so $40 and stand out and get a banana phone. Oh man, it's the stupid things that us geeks freak out about. It's bizarre, but I saw that. I'm like, I'm in. I want one. So consider me a backer. Also, just a little bit of there's a cool article, "The Art of Driving Fast on Public Roads in the 21st Century: A How-To," and it talks about how lidar is producing um, information that basically gives you the best route to travel, and so that it can kind of tell you, and when they're using a lidar in a very busy area, it can actually kind of direct you a little bit easier on which way to go and to help the flow of traffic, especially depending on your destination. So it's a pretty cool article by Ars Technica, and I'll have it up in the show notes. Also, that Google Docs phishing story that we talked about, that email cost Minnesota $90,000. Apparently, 2,500 state employees received the email, and it took $90,000 to clean it up. Why didn't just the ITs in Minnesota tell their state employees just to delete the email? Were the state employees that stupid that they opened the email and got their machines hacked? It scratches my head just a little bit on why it cost them $90,000. Hmm. 90 grand for just a phishing attack when people could have just hit delete. Also, if you're an owner of Hawaii's original watch, you now can update the device to Android Wear 2.0. The update is being rolled out to both the developer preview and the stable channel of the 2-year-old smartwatch. According to Reddit and Android Central, the update should be available through the watch settings, but if not, it's not. The watch can be manually flashed. So if you've got the Huawei, Huawei, Huawei original watch, you can get it updated to Android 2.0. Nice little upgrade for you there. If you're in a family of more, if you're a family more of one, duh. The families are usually 2 or more, right? That was kind of stupid. But anyway, not every home has a computer for every person in the home. There might be a mom and dad computer, and there might be a kid's computer, or there might be just one computer shared. But oftentimes, those shared computers, and I ran into this here just yesterday, was my wife was complaining that my son had installed something on her profile on her MacBook. And I was just like, okay, I came in there and told Chris, don't be installing stuff on your mom's profile. And I uninstalled it and had her log out, had him log in, and basically I've got a password set, so he has to come to me to have the software installed. Whereas mom is basically her profile is allowed really anything, and she doesn't have to ask me to load stuff on it. But if you're a Windows 10 user, there's a lot of new tweaks to the operating system, and one of them is a major of Windows Defender. And also, as part of the Windows Defender overhaul, Microsoft made it easier to get at your family settings, where you can do such thing as manage your kids' screen time or their browsing activity. So this is a great way to basically set limits to the kid's profile. So, we all know how it works. My kids are old enough now to be at home alone. So I'll tell him, okay, your mom and I are going out to be bed by 9:30. The rules of the road, or what they're supposed to do. And off the computer by 8. We walk out the door, and the kid's like, yeah, I'm not going to be off the computer by 8. I'm going to, and probably not going to go to bed at 9:30. They probably listen to the car drive in the driveway and rush to bed, right? Well, with these family options, you can basically set it up so that you can have it log off whatever time you set in those family option settings, so that you can enforce the rules through the kid control. So, and it also helps in obviously keeping kids off adult websites and all that stuff as well. So I have this link up in the article for those of you that maybe your kid has its own machine, but you can set up some of those options for their own computer to help your enforcement when you've had a hard day at work and you've come home and you sit down on the couch and literally collapse, and the kids have free run of the computer until midnight, and you wake up screaming at them. So I'll have the link up in the show notes for you. Hey, Google ends Android Nougat, Nougat. I don't know how to. That's another one. They come up with these weird names. Why don't you can't call it something normal? But anyway, the Nougat beta, and promises an Android open beta soon. So developer preview of the upcoming Android update is right around the corner. So that's good news for Android users. All right, moving on here. Microsoft Monday, Surface Laptop, Windows 10s, smartphone plans, and smart home speaker. So the folks over at Forbes.com, basically Microsoft has announced several new products, including the Windows 10s operating system and a $999 Surface laptop. We know that last week that Windows hosted an event in New York City, announced several new products. At the event, Microsoft unveiled a version of Windows, again, the new line of laptops and several new education services. Windows 10s, which is tailored for students and teachers, is basically is a streamlined version of Windows 10 for lower performance computers. And Windows 10 is a variation of Windows that allows you to install apps only from the Windows Store. Microsoft says that is what makes it streamlined for security and performance. It also can run a lower end laptop. So, of course, the Windows 10 Pro is available as an upgrade for students that want to upgrade machines. But both HP and Acer have actually already announced laptops running Windows 10s. Those laptops cost under $299. The new HP laptop is known as the ProBook X360 Education Edition, which has the following specs: 11.6-inch display, 1366 by 768 resolution Intel Celeron processor, 64 gigs of storage, 4 gigs of RAM with the full version of Windows 10. So again, available at $299. Excuse me, $329. And Acer is selling a new version of the TravelMate Spin B1 convertible. The TravelMate Spin B1 converts a touchscreen laptop that has the following specs: 7.6-inch, 1080p, Intel Celeron with 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage. Again, $399 on that. So I have a list of all of the announcements that was made. I have that link up in the show notes. But definitely trying to compete with the Chromebook here for sure. The folks over at Ars Technica the folks at The Verge are saying that Tesla wants to make self-driving cars a reality by collecting more video data from driver. And also you can use auto steer up to 90 miles per hour on the highway. Why would they do that? Tesla's asking vehicle owners for permission to collect more video data in an effort to make self-driving a reality. The company is also updating its autopilot software to lift many of the restrictions on how fast you can drive. So that's kind of crazy. Last year, Tesla announced that moving forward, all of its cars would come equipped with the hardware for full self-driving capabilities, including 8 cameras and 12 ultrasonic sensors that can both detect hard and soft objects. Now Tesla wants its drivers permission to collect data from the video captured by those cameras for the purpose of improving its software. According to Electric, Tesla sent a message recently asking owners to approve a new video data sharing policy. They said we need to collect short video clips using cars' external cameras to learn how to recognize things like lanes, street signs, and traffic light positions. The more fleet learning of road conditions we're able to do, the better your Tesla self-driving ability will become. But giving them the ability to self-drive at up to 90 miles per hour here in the U.S., this can only be a recipe for disaster. Jamie J, how's the ribs? Sore. Very sore, my friend. I don't think they're cracked, as I said earlier. I think I got lucky. But they are, if I cough, they hurt, but not like cracked hurt. If anyone's had a broken rib before, you know what that feels like. A cracked rib might be on the edge, but I don't really want anybody pushing on that area anytime soon. And we'll see how it is when I go to the gym tomorrow, because I am going. I am going. I have a mission, and hopefully I'll be able to work the kinks out. All right, Waze now lets you record your own turn-by-turn audio. It's the ultimate in self-personalization, even if everyone hates their own voice. Waze experimented with plenty of celebrity voices for its hugely popular navigation app, and now it's taking the ultimate personalization step. What if the voice you heard while driving was your own? What about, let me just record the standard commands for Waze, and you can hear me. I think that would be kind of cool. You guys could hear me on the podcast and hear me on Waze as well. So I don't want to personalize Waze. I'll let the stupid thing do its own deal. Why would I want to personalize Waze to hear my voice? Is that not Why did they waste time on that dev? It's got to be the stupidest thing I have heard as a feature for a perfectly good app. Sorry, it's dumb. Now, if you want me to personalize your ways and they've got a way to do it, I'll volunteer, but come on. All right, Amazon is lowering its free shipping minimum back to $25. So if you spend at least 25 bucks and you don't have Prime, you still get free shipping. So this is the second time this year Amazon lowered its free shipping minimum. In February, Amazon lowered the minimum 49 to 35. Now it's down to 25. So, but I pay for Prime because everything know why it costs to ship, and I can't get lithium-ion batteries being shipped here anymore either. So what do? I order, I have them sent to a friend's house, and then reshipped. It's what's the difference? All right, skipping a few articles here. Lowe's smart home system can call 911 for you. You'll need a $14.99 subscription for the feature. So if you own a smart home system, here's the worst case scenario. You're away, something has generally gone wrong, you need to contact emergency services. That involves a finding a call and some worrying about how swiftly your phone notification came through. Lowe's Iris has a different approach. If you sign up for its premium plan, the system will monitor your home and call emergency responders automatically. You'll be notified through the app, of course. In some cases, you'll be able to cancel or confirm if someone for the police or fire department is set out. So I have a full monitoring here. I pay for monitoring, and they're really, really good. So if an alarm goes off in a house, they can access the cameras. They can see if there's actually something going on. They can self-verify before they call me and let me know that they've called the police or the fire department to come. It's just an approach I've had for a while because of travel and everything else. So, but this is kind of a cool service. It's in the middle of the road, and for $14.99, it's a good price point. TripAdvisor has added Grubhub food delivery to its travel tools. Grubhub makes it pretty easy to scrounge up food when you don't feel like picking it up yourself. When I travel, I use Grubhub a lot to have food delivered to my hotel room, and you can actually get healthy choices. Sometimes the trick is, though, they usually have like a minimum order. So if I have a refrigerator in the room and a microwave, I'll order 2 meals. I'll order 2 dinners or 2 lunches, and then just put one in the refrigerator. I always travel Ziploc bags and that kind of stuff, so that I have chow for the next day. Makes it a little more economical. But anyway, TripAdvisor's added Grubhub food delivery to its travel tools. Moving on next, Apple wants to sell iPhones out of an historic District of Columbia library. It's not destroying the landmark, but it still has to tread carefully. Apple's no stranger to the challenges of opening stores in historic locations, such as New York City's Grand Central Terminal. Its latest shop may be its most ambitious yet, however. The company's unveiled plans to convert Washington, D.C.'s Carnegie Library into a retail store. The building hasn't been used as a book repository for a long time. It's currently shared between the city's Historical Society and the organizers at Events DC, but this still would be a vast undertaking. In the proposal, Apple would turn most of the library into one of its shining beacons of modern entity, while hopefully respecting its 104-year legacy. Okay, so we'll see. I guess they need an Apple store close to downtown DC. Parrot is creating a new prosumer division after cutting a third of its workforce. Parrot's been known for many, many years for coming up with the drone type vehicles. And so they're basically trying to come up with a prosumer version. I kind of always thought that their stuff was prosumer anyway. They designed to bridge the gap between an extremely commercial line, which costs up to $11,000, and an extremely inexpensive consumer drone, which costs as little as $100. The new division, dubbed Parrot Professional, is now making drones that fall into the prosumer category of $1,000 to $5,000. Drones in this new division are intended to support construction, agriculture, a new work tool without the need of a professional pilot. And very, very soon, I will have my official license my commercial drone license. Google Fuchsia. You heard about this? Google Fuchsia. It's a smartphone OS. And I didn't even know this. Google has a second or third operating system after Android and Chrome OS. This one's an open source real time OS called Fuchsia, Fuchsia. The OS first popped up in August last year, but back then it was just a command line. Now the mysterious project has a crazy new UI that we can look at. So let's dive in. And they have the link up in the show notes and the different screenshots. So it's always weird, some of the stuff Google comes up with, but this is someone's project, obviously, to come up with a new, a substitute to Android, I guess. Much loved U.S. cable giants Comcast and Charter, and I'm ducking here because I can feel stuff in the scorn coming to the screen. But anyway, U.S. cable giants, and again, I'm sorry, they're not loved. U.S. cable giants Comcast and Charter, which both they want to run their own cell phone networks, are teaming up to make their wireless nightmare, aka dream, a reality. Under the terms of the partnership announced Monday morning, Charter and Comcast will together develop shared hardware and software backbones to support their fledgling wireless networks, including billing systems and network management software. Aw, isn't that nice? So they want their own Who in their right mind? Please. Comcast and Charter. Who in their right mind would sign up for mobile service with them? Is this the new triple play? It's just amazing. It really, really is. They're subleasing bandwidth from Verizon or somebody. They're not building their own. Google's making it easier to read offline in Chrome on Android. A long press download and save anything you want to check out later. So whether it be websites, whether it be PDFs, while apps like Pocket and Instapaper can help you read web pages on the go without a network connection, Google's Chrome browser added the ability into its Android app last December. Today, the company has tweaked the feature to make it a bit easier to download pages for offline viewing. You can do a long press on any link in Chrome to find a new option to download, and it downloads all the images so that you can reload it when you're offline. Moving on here, the sequel to the original Blade Runner movie has been in the pipeline for a long time. It was confirmed last year that there's going to be another movie in this franchise. The first official Blade Runner 2049 trailer has been released in December of last year, and fans of the movie will now appreciate the fact that Blade Runner 2049 trailer has been released today. And I watched this, and oh yeah, awesome. The new movie obviously will be set 30 years after the events of the original movie. The last we saw Blade Runner characters was when it set off on a mission to track Richard Deckard to find out some lost secrets. So we released a new Blade Runner 2049 trailer, so check it out. Link will be up in the show notes, all right? Uber is expanding its self-driving research to Canada. So those of you up there in north of the border, specifically Toronto, watch out for those Uber self-driving vehicles. They're doing some testing up there. You'll be able to tell. They have all kinds of weird stuff on top and on the sides of the vehicles. So heads up, okay? Apple is also offering a free smart keyboard repair up to 3 years. Extended warranty covers stuck keys, bad connections, and other functionality issues for those of you that had a iPad Pro and one of the keyboards. I have an iPad Pro, and the only time I use it is for demos or going to conventions. And I rarely use the keyboard, but they have extended the warranty on it for those of you that have one, okay? Wall Street Journal saying the Amazon plans to unveil a new Echo. And I guess this has been the best, worst kept secret. This new Echo speaker with a screen will incorporate video calling capabilities, according to Familiar with the Matter, keeping the online retailer one step ahead of tech rivals. It's expected to come out tomorrow or today for those of you that are listening tomorrow. So I don't know what the price is going to be, but knowing me, I'll be ordering one. So just let you know. Also, Harman Kardon invoked speaker with Cortana, now official. After a leak earlier this week, or late last week, that read information about the upcoming product, Harman Kardon has officially unveiled the Invoke smart speaker that's powered by Cortana. It doesn't say what the price is going to be, but it looks pretty. US Today called the FBI after half of its 15 million Facebook likes turned out to be bogus. Yes, can you believe this? You think the FBI has enough on its plate with the threat of terrorism, political investigations, attempts to novel end-to-end encryption that they have time to investigate why the US Today Facebook page had 7 some million fake thumbs up? You know, USA Today, there's these sites that interns can go on. You know, if you've got this social media person and you're paying them a paycheck to increase the likes on your Facebook page, it doesn't cost a lot of money for $40 get 15,000 likes on a page. It doesn't take too much of that to if you're getting performance bonuses as a social media person for getting likes on your Facebook page. And this is the big scam too. A lot of companies, we're social media experts. We will grow your business. We'll help your page get likes, all that stuff. All you have to do is pay us $500 a month, and we will grow your Facebook page recognition by 10,000 likes a month. So then you write the check for them. I'm going to give $5,000, and a couple of weeks later, you see your numbers start to increase, and oh my gosh, you're a business owner, and you're excited because you've just added 11,000 new people that have thumbed up your page. And you're like, man, let me give this guy another $500. And he writes a check for $40 to some scam outfit that goes and does likes on your page. It's a racket. It's an absolute racket. So Facebook canned the bogus likes. It is believed that the mastermind of these fake accounts give pages such as US Today and American sports team the thumbs up to appear more legit. Ching, ching, someone's used a corporate Visa card. I'm telling you, straight up. Come on. So they've asked the FBI to figure out who got 7.5 million likes on their page illegally. I roll in there. I go to the social media department. I'm like, let me have the credit card receipts for everyone, your personal and business, or you're fired. we'll figure out who bought those fake likes. It's just, oh my gosh, so stupid. I'm reading the comments on the in the chat room tonight. James, Mike, I don't listen to my voice at all after the show because I don't edit. Oh, man. Thank goodness I don't. If I had to listen to myself. No Surface 5 coming soon, says Microsoft Surface boss. When Microsoft confirmed its next event, which take place in Shanghai on May 23rd, many speculated we might finally see the company unveil the Surface Pro 5. However, if the boss of all things Surface at Microsoft is believed, and he really is someone who you should believe in these matters, there's no such thing as the Surface Pro 5. So we'll see what they have to announce on May 23rd instead. Also, Instagram's mobile website can do almost as much as the app. The Explore tab and photo posting give you the core features without an app. And I like that when you can use a web version of something instead of using the app. Because oftentimes I have pictures on the computer that came from the DSLR that are not on my iPhone that I want to share. The folks at Engadget actually have a picture of the upcoming Amazon not-so-secret touchscreen Echo. And I don't know why I had this up twice tonight, but it's good. This one has an image. Let me see if I can show you all that are here. Look at the time. I think I'm going to be Okay. So this is what it looks like. Now let's see. Does it show the cost? Equi's expected to retail at more than 200 by comparison. The look, so probably 299 something. Anything that's got a screen immediately is going to be more money. So we'll see where this drops in expense wise. Samsung Galaxy C10 and Galaxy C10 have entered development. A new report claims Samsung started development of the Galaxy C10 and C10 Plus handsets. The particular series has largely been restricted to certain markets, but it's proven to be a hit there. And Samsung wants to follow up on the success by releasing new models with updated specifications. So, I'm not familiar with that model, but for those of you overseas, you may be aware of it. What else? I'll drop that one. T-Mobile has quietly retired its free data for life iPad promotion. The company is now pushing tablet users to full service unlimited plans. So, with all the carrier battles going on, again, T-Mobile scudded its free data for life, and that it's offered starting in 2013 for new iPad owners who active their device. So, anyway, they've got some new plans for that. All right. Net neutrality supporters cripple the FCC website again. Sunday, John Oliver told the internet to basically go to the FCC, and basically they brought the site down. And Oliver set up the URL that made it incredibly easy to express your interest in maintaining an open internet. And it was gofccyourself.com. So gofccyourself.com. Sections of website just basically collapsed. So I can imagine anytime this guy gets on his his bandwagon, his bully pulpit, and does a call to action, a government server should not typically won't handle too much traffic, I would think. A bad bug in Microsoft Windows malware scanner can be used to install malware. What? Crazy bad bug. Folks are turning tables in Microsoft and use its malware protection engine in Windows to install malware on vulnerable machines. A particularly nasty security flaw exists in antivirus technology, which is packaged and marketed in various forms: Windows Defender, Windows Intune, Endpoint Protection, Microsoft Security Essentials, Microsoft System Center Endpoint Protection, Microsoft Forefront Security, and or SharePoint, Microsoft Endpoint Protection, and Microsoft Forefront Endpoint Protection are all at risk. It is possible for hackers to craft files that are booby-trapped with malicious code. So the software that's supposed to be protecting you is not protecting you and is allowing malware to be installed. Lovely. So Microsoft is rushing out a patch for all of that. Verizon is this is a Verizon customer support nightmare story. I think we've all had those with mobile carriers. I don't think I need to go into details, but I'll have the link up in the show notes if you want to see it. Also, CNET, I have to give them kudos here. So the UFO flying aliens that are out there, they're listening to the show right now, being broadcast over the interwebs. We're asking you for some cooperation. Number one, please hold still and get yourself positioned in such a way that we can take a picture of you with our cell phones. All right. So please hold still. Don't fly off at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Get down and low. Get right where we can get the good angle, and just wave from the window so we can snap a picture. Okay. Number two, you really want to step it up. Land and say hello. It's time. You can aim for the 2017 UFO Festival in Roswell this July. It'd be a great opportunity. You have lots of people there with cameras, lots of people that are willing to, greet you and take you to the leader. Land and say hi. Number three, we want you to watch some Star Trek. Maybe Alien and Independence Day was a little rough. So we want you to watch some Star Trek instead to show you how we would do it if we were going to meet you. Also, step up your Mars Sculptor game. Okay. The Mars rovers are up there. They're taking pictures of all kinds of stuff. So if you really want to, if you really want us to pay attention, what we need you to do is write us a note. Look over there. Put it like an arrow, and then put up a big billboard for us so that it can be very exacting. And finally, of course, please, we're not in a farm. Don't come down and eat us. So a little crafty message from the folks at CNET that I thought was just a perfect way to start to wrap up the show here. So, and finally, a story from Coast to Coast AM. A vanished Irish beach has reappeared after 33 years. Yes, folks, the beach disappeared. This is a true story. The beach has been gone from about the time I graduated from high school. Actually, a year after I graduated from high school. So it's been gone a while, and now it's back, and they're very happy about that. They got their beach back. So I have that link in the show notes. Hey, as always, feel free to drop me an email here. The hate stuff is related to the stuff I've been talking about. Is not so cool. Okay, not so cool. But don't forget, we're coming up on our 1200th episode, and I'm holding a contest. All you got to do is send me an email to geeknews@gmail.com and tell me something that you have purchased after listening to this show. There's one device that's running far and above ahead of everything else at this point on the number of entries that have come in. And you probably will not be surprised when I talk about it. Also, what has been your favorite episode? If you've been listening and you're like, wow, that was a really good one, can you remember the number, or get me close in the ballpark, or talk to me about what I talked about? So 2 emails, geeknews@gmail.com. Favorite, your purchase that you from listening to the show, and your favorite episode. I will put you in the running for a nice, crispy $100 bill for each of those entries, and we will add a kicker on the next show, because the next show is what episode? 1199. So meaning a week from today, we're going to be having our 1200th episode celebration and giving away some cash. So we want you to listen to the next show. Appreciate your feedback. Thank you for listening. Please support the sponsor of this podcast. And it's been my great pleasure to bring you the show today. geeknews@gmail.com is the email address. Everyone take care. We'll see you on the flip side. We'll see you on Thursday. Everyone take care. And you and Quincy, keep the battle up, all right? Take care. Bye-bye.